Introducing YouTube memberships, a fun way to support the channel while getting some exclusive perks. Click the join button to become a member now and get benefits like badges next to your name on videos, behind-the-scenes photos, advantages during the live trivia game, discounts on merchandise, private one-on-one video chats, the ability to request future video topics, and exclusive 8 to 10 minute videos on the history of the NFL. And now, on with our feature presentation. In January 2021, Nickelodeon changed the game with an alternate broadcast of a playoff game between the Chicago Bears and the New Orleans Saints. This broadcast was themed entirely around Nickelodeon and was kid-oriented, designed as a way to get younger people into football while using some gimmicks to explain the game to them in a way that they understand, while also showing off some graphics and their favorite Nickelodeon characters. The result was a resounding success that I absolutely love and look forward to every year, even though I am not the target demographic. The Nickelodeon broadcast has been going strong for the past 3 years, and it's one of my most anticipated telecasts of the season because of how good it is. It integrates the world of Nickelodeon into the world of the NFL flawlessly, and is just a ton of fun. If you want to see my review of the most recent Nickelodeon game, you can do so by clicking the card in the upper right corner. So naturally, when something is a success, you're going to have copycats. You're going to have other broadcasts designed for kids in a bunch of other sports. You had the absolute train wreck that was the Marvel-themed NBA broadcast. You had the Big City Greens-themed NHL broadcast. You had the Dude Perfect alternate broadcast on Amazon Prime for select Thursday night football games, which you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. And now, you've got the Toy Story broadcast. Because on Sunday, October 1st, the battle between the Jacksonville Jaguars and Atlanta Falcons didn't just take place at Wembley Stadium, but also took place in Andy's room. The entire broadcast was Toy Story themed. Toy Story graphics, Toy Story characters on the field, Toy Story themed halftime show. Heck, even the players were shrunk down to the size of toys. Which raises the question, was the Toy Story broadcast any good? No, oh god, no. This broadcast was an absolute train wreck. Now, I want to make a few things clear. First off, I love Toy Story. It's one of the greatest movie franchises of all time, and Toy Story 2 might be the greatest sequel in the history of movies. The airport scene climax was one of my all-time favorite scenes growing up. The characters have been common knowledge throughout my entire life as someone born in 1997 who loves Disney. I also fully recognize that I'm not the intended target audience for this. This is clearly aimed at kids who have no exposure to football or are just learning the game, and not a 26-year-old man who also happens to be a fan of one of the teams playing in this game. Trust me, I get all of that. And look, if kids like this broadcast, then good for them. And if kids got invested in the game because of it, then maybe the broadcast did its job. But I honestly don't see how that's possible, because this broadcast failed in so many ways to achieve its objective. Perhaps the biggest reason, and the most apparent way that this broadcast was a disaster, was with the glitches. Holy glitches, Batman, this was bad. How bad were the glitches? Well, the next 10 or so minutes of this video is going to be devoted strictly to the glitches, because they were incredibly frequent and incredibly awkward. If you want to skip ahead to the non-glitches part as to why this didn't work, I'll leave a timestamp in the description. But come and join me on a journey as we recap the Falcons-Jaguars game, or rather, the lack thereof, because I feel like you couldn't even watch the game half the time because of how many glitches there were. Before the game started, you could tell that the technology was not there, as the ball is just floating around while the players are trying to toss it to each other. This happens a second time before the game even starts, where the ball just has magical powers and has free will to move around as it so pleases. I guess this is how the NFL is avoiding having to pay writers during the writers' strike. Just skip the ball to do the work and dictate the outcome of the game. We then get the Falcons huddling up, And who on earth is number 59 on the Falcons? In real life, it's Andre Smith, the fourth-year man out of North Carolina at linebacker. In the Toy Story universe, he's an unknown player. We haven't even kicked off the game yet, and we're already off to a flying start. And when we kick off the game, it gets a heck of a lot worse, as we go in chronological order. The Falcons kick off to start the game, and I don't know a single kicker in the league that kicks a kickoff with the ball facing like that, just laying on the ground horizontally. But the Falcons are changing the game in more ways than one. The kickoff goes into the end zone for a touchback, and the first play of the game results in
a football over there. Trevor Lawrence, the sheriff of this Jaguars offense, starts with a handoff, and Travis Etienne burrows ahead.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, this was a very common theme throughout the broadcast, where you just couldn't see the play. As bad as these other alternate broadcasts were, at least we could see what was happening on the field. Here, nothing. This happened a ton of times throughout the broadcast, as you will find out. Case in point, the second play of the game. You can't see anything that's happening. But we do get to see, or rather hear, some incredibly awkward silence coming from the broadcast booth.
Feel each other out.
Yeah, still feeling things out here.
Play number 3, and oh my god, we still can't see anything. This is how I want to watch every game. Just have Booger McFarlane's Toy Story avatar staring right at me. It's better than the Boogermobile, I'll give you that. Alright, maybe number 4 will be better. Nope, still can't see Jack. Play number 5 maybe? Nope, still nothing. It took until the 6th play of the game for anyone to even see anything resembling a football play. Talk about a great first impression. And this was not the end of the technical difficulties. In fact, it was only the beginning. For the next few minutes, enjoy this compilation of plays that you could not see.
40-pound tight end, Evan Ingram. Jaguars to punt on 4th down and 5. Logan Cook kicks it away. Ball lands just inside the 10. The Jaguars want to down it here, and they do. They keep it from going in the end zone. Variables here in Andy's room. The Toy Story Fun Day football. ETN gets the call on 2nd down. And
no, there's no doubt about it, especially when you're in plus territory going to score. Good chance of that.
Well, this 3rd down play is a bust as Lawrence got pressured by Calais Campbell. So Jacksonville is going for it. Slinky Dog has set up a 4th down and 1. Trevor Lawrence throws complete. It's Christian Kirk over the middle for 9 yards to move the chains, working on A.J. Terrell. Best friends, and we see him serving as the 1st down marker today. And it is 1st down for the Jaguars, and that play, Walker just made the tackle for no gain, sets up 2nd down and 10. Ritter throws, they set it up for Bijan Robinson, a short pass, just trying to get the ball in number 7's hands. It's 3rd down and 6. Falcons need to get something going here. Ritter will throw over the middle. That'll help. He completes it to the tight end behind Ritter. Ritter fakes it to him, wants to throw, and wants it deep. Up the sideline, incomplete. He was looking for 1st and 10 chains today. It's 3rd down and 2. Lawrence tucks it and runs. And Pizza Planet at halftime when Duke Kaboom is performing his Daredevil Spectacular. Bijan Robinson on 1st down has an 8. Man, that's cold, partner. So it's 4th down and 2 after the run for no gain on 3rd. That's why the Jaguars use the timeout to stop the clock. Christian Kirk, and that hurry up that Booger mentioned earlier for the Jags, for the Falcons on the other side. And they send it out to Christian Kirk on the short pass. More recess. On 3rd and 11, Lawrence tried to set up the screen. Has 1st down again. Under 7 to play in this 3rd quarter. Falcons still trailing by 10. They give it back to the rookie, Bijan Robinson. Also in Andy's room here for Toy Story Fun Day football. Lawrence throws, 2nd down and 7. Evan Ingram, the tight end, has it for a 1st down. Last couple minutes of the 3rd quarter. Lawrence throws as a flag comes in. That is incomplete. He was looking for Ingram. They snap it just before the play clock expires. Lawrence throws complete. Kirk got blasted by.
And besides the fact that we got a ton of plays that no one could see, we got plays that did not happen, and were just made up by the technology. Unless I'm missing something, I swear that some of these plays did not actually happen in the real game. On this punt return right here, Parker Washington got hurt. Doesn't look like he's hurt here. He's standing and walking perfectly fine if you ask me. Or how about this play, where the safety just spins around and breakdances in the middle of the action? Later in the drive, Trevor Lawrence gets called out of bounds miles before actually stepping out of bounds. Take a look and listen.
All he does is win, dating back to high school. Fakes another handoff to Etienne. Rolls to his right. You see the speed again from Trevor Lawrence. And
We've also got another instance of the ball just magically floating to the sideline for some reason. Or what about this touchdown throw by Trevor Lawrence to Calvin Ridley? Did this look like a touchdown? This looked from the first angle like a horribly underthrown ball. And from the second angle, it looked like Ridley dropped it. But it's okay, because the Jags scored a touchdown. So now, they've got a kickoff. And Brandon McManus is there to kick the ball off on its side for some reason. Again, no kicker in the league kicks like that. When the Jags get the ball on their next drive, why does it look like Christian Kirk got shot to the ground? The ball is miles over his head, and there he is, just laying on the ground. But nope, in real life, that's a catch and a first down. Speaking of passes that seemed incomplete but were actually complete, look at this beautiful throw into the dirt by Trevor Lawrence. Turns out, Evan Ingram caught this ball for a gain of 3. What part of this looked like a catch? Later in the drive, Brandon McManus kicked a field goal. It looks no good, right? Looks like it went off the upright. Nope, it was right down the middle. Don't know how that works. But we're not done yet. Remember the play in the game where the fullback on the Falcons gets a direct snap and hands it off to Bijan Robinson? Oh, you know? Well, apparently, in the Toy Story universe, it happened. Or remember the play where the Falcons center just throws the ball directly off the snap, never giving it to the quarterback? That feels very illegal, right? Man, the quality of officiating has gone down the drain. And you would think that the refs would call that, but nope. Because the Falcons, on this pass to Bijan Robinson, do it again. Only this time, the ball somehow magically levitates in midair. Later, McManus hits an extra point, and that once again looks like it's off the upright and is no good. But you guessed it, it's right down the middle. That's followed up later in the quarter by another play where the football just moves on its own to the sideline. And that's followed up by a play where Trevor Lawrence very clearly gets sacked, seeing as he's down on the ground with the ball in his hands. But nope, this is just a regular old incomplete pass. Or what about this throw by Trevor Lawrence?
Lawrence to throw on first down. Under 30 seconds to play in the first half off the hands of Christian Kirk.
How was that off the hands of Christian Kirk? In real life, yes, it was. But in the Toy Story universe, that ball is 5 yards overthrown and never even touches Kirk. When we start the second half, we've got a running play that, for some reason, focuses solely on Desmond Ridder, who has nothing to do with the play. Later in the drive, Ridder throws a touchdown pass to Drake London, which, shocker, doesn't look like a touchdown and looks miles underthrown. But nope, in this universe, it's a touchdown. We also had this punt by Jaguars punter Logan Cook, which in actuality is a beauty and goes inside the 10-yard line. In this universe, it's a shank and lands at the 32. We've also got this play, where the scoreboard says that it's 3rd and 7, while the on-field graphic says that it's 3rd and 8. We've got this play, where Travis Etienne just stops running with no one around him and no one bringing him to the ground, and we've got this play, which is why I want offensive coordinator Press Taylor fired, where Trevor Lawrence calls a play-action shovel pass to the guard, Tyler Shatley. Again, that definitely did not happen in real life. And on this play, what the heck is running back Jermichael Hasty doing? He just disappears mid-play and then reappears. But speaking of bizarre plays by the Jags, talk about a dumb decision here. You're up by 13 points, and you decide to get cute by having Trevor Lawrence hand the ball off to the tight end, Brennan Strange, who then laterals it to Travis Etienne. Because that definitely happened. Or what about the final play of the game, where Desmond Ridder gets strip sacked and Josh Allen recovered, even though Ridder clearly has the ball and never went down to the ground? Glitches like that were constant throughout the broadcast. Isn't the whole point of this broadcast to be able to watch a football game through the eyes of the Toy Story universe? Well, we can't even do that. The game was either filled with glitches that made it impossible to watch the game, or glitches that made it impossible to follow along with the game because things were happening that very clearly did not happen. At least with all the other alternate broadcasts, good and bad, I was able to watch the game. I couldn't even do that here. The game, for all intents and purposes, did not exist. The technology is cool, but it is very clearly not ready, and is so far behind where it needed to be for a broadcast like this. Maybe there will be a day where this technology will be good enough, but today was very clearly not that day. Not even close. But besides the glitches, what else didn't work about this broadcast? Well, some of you will notice right away that the broadcast does a great job spoiling the outcome of the play. What do I mean by that? Anytime that the broadcast showed the name of a player, you knew he was going to catch the ball. Check out this play to Calvin Ridley, which was a catch, and this play to Travis Etienne, which was a catch, and this play to Luke Farrell, which was a catch, and this play to Tim Jones, which was a catch, and this play to Kyle Pitts, which was a catch. And now, check out these passes, and notice that the name does not pop up. The broadcast was already behind what happened in real time, but just because you know what's going to happen doesn't mean you need to spoil it. I'm guessing there were quite a few people who knew what was going to happen simply because the name came underneath the receiver before the ball actually got there. Speaking of other graphical things, the overlays were absolutely ridiculous. There's such a thing as overkill, and this broadcast specialized in that. The flames under the players when they're running quickly? That's cool. Trust me, that was really cool, and I like that a lot. But do we really need "oh yeah" appearing when Luke Farrell catches a 3-yard pass? Do we need not one, but 2 go far things appearing on passes that go behind the line of scrimmage? Do we need whoosh and yay on a simple tight end screen? Or a woo-hoo on a kickoff? Everything in moderation. It was my problem with Nickelodeon in year 2 when they overdid it with the slime monster. And man, did they overdo it here on this broadcast. What's also crazy about this broadcast was the fact that despite the unique and revolutionary concept, where clearly a lot of time and effort went into it, a lot of it felt super lazy. What do I mean by that? They reused a ton of animations that had no smooth integration into the actual broadcast. What you're seeing right now is a sample of that, and you can see based on the scoreboard at the bottom that these were separate occasions that they showed this. We saw the same animations twice, 3, or even 4 times in the same broadcast. Why are we reusing these? But look, you might say, this broadcast is clearly designed for kids. Well, to that I say that it was not designed for kids. Because if it was, then holy cow, the announcers did a terrible job at making it for kids. What Nickelodeon did a great job at was not treating the kids like idiots, but by simplifying the game enough with comparisons to real-world examples and Nickelodeon shows. They did overcomplicate things. They realized that for a lot of people watching, and a lot of kids watching, that this is their first exposure to football. Well, let's just show some examples during this broadcast, and ask yourself based on these comments, would a 5-year-old who knew nothing about football before this understand anything that's going on here?
Well, this is a heavy set for the Jags with 2 tight ends in there.
Christian Kirk works primarily in the slot. He's led the league in receptions from the slot since last season. That means he's going to work in between the tackle and the outside receiver. That little slot formation kind of works the middle of the field, and he does it at an outstanding level.
plus 23 in the final 15 minutes of games. Robinson split out wide.
Heavy set with 2 tight ends. The Falcons being plus 23 in the final quarter. I know what that means, but does a 5-year-old know what that means? There was a ton of talk about cornerbacks playing man-to-man and zone coverage. Evan Ingram and Kyle Pitts are both tight ends that aren't really tight ends, but rather wide receivers. Historical stats and callbacks to plays in previous games, when the kids didn't watch those and had no baseline for that whatsoever. Terminology such as a spot foul and inside the red zone without ever explaining what either of those are. Christian Kirk as a slot receiver, while the graphic is talking about how his favorite food is Italian food, might be the perfect example of how this broadcast failed and how it tried, yet failed, to connect with the kids. This is too advanced for a lot of casual NFL fans, let alone little kids who have never watched the game before. I'm not saying treat kids as idiots. Kids are smarter than you give them credit for, and nothing infuriates kids more than being talked down to. But this is like that episode of Drake and Josh, where Josh gives Megan and her class college textbooks. This is too advanced for someone that has no idea what the sport even is. And the other thing that made no sense whatsoever was the sideline reporter, Pepper Pursley. Now, I want to make something very clear. Nothing about what I'm about to say is a criticism of Pepper herself. She is just a child. She is 11 years old. For what she was asked to do, she did a great job. And in no way whatsoever am I bashing a child for her performance on a Toy Story broadcast. Trust me, to have the guts to do what she did at 11 and commentate on a football game is nothing short of impressive. This is entirely a knock on the producers and the people in charge. Here's my thing with Pepper. Nothing that she said had anything to do with the game. It was all talk about how Buzz Lightyear is trying to watch the game, or Emperor Zurg is trying to thwart the action, or the sun is shining in Andy's room, or the toys are having fun. What does this mean? None of this had to be live. Why didn't you just pre-tape the segments? Why didn't you just have Pepper go into a sound booth, record these segments, and then take the best takes? It's not like an actual sideline reporter where it has to be live, because they're giving updates on injured players and giving sound bites from coaches. These reports could have been done at any time. Pepper had a few awkward pauses and stutters and audio issues, and she didn't have to, because there was no reason for any of those segments to be live in the first place. Again, I'm not criticizing Pepper for this at all, and I'm not even criticizing the fact that she was on the broadcast because she's extremely talented. It's more of her integration on the broadcast that made no sense, because if none of the reports were live or involved her actually having a conversation with the announcers, you could have put her in a much better spot by having those segments be pre-recorded and taken the best tape. So, did everything fail here? Well, not everything. The halftime show with Duke Kaboom was really, really cool, as was using Slinky as the first down marker and using the claw as the ball spotter. Both of those things were absolutely genius. There's clearly something here with these graphics that you could use in a video game, and I would definitely play it if they did a Toy Story NFL overlay. But in terms of the actual broadcast itself, for the most part, yeah, it was kind of a disaster, seeing as you couldn't actually watch the game, which is kind of the most important part of the game broadcast. Being able to actually, see the game. Again, I fully recognize that I am in no way whatsoever the intended target audience here. If this appealed to 5-year-olds, then okay, it worked out. But I don't see how it could have, at least not in the way that was intended. You had announcers talking in language that was way over their heads, and even the heads of some casual NFL fans. You had graphics that were constantly glitchy to the point where you couldn't see the game. You had spoiled plays and reused and recycled animations. You had bizarre integrations with other parts of the broadcast. For the most part, this broadcast did not work out at all. This broadcast was kind of a disaster. All in all, the Toy Story broadcast did not have a friend in me. Get your official Jaguar Gear 9 merchandise by going to jj9shop.com, and be sure to like and subscribe, as it really helps the channel out a lot. Join me every Wednesday night where we'll play NFL trivia for cash prizes at 9 p.m. Eastern over on Twitch. To learn more about the history of college football, subscribe to Jaguar Gator 8. To learn more about the history of Major League Baseball, subscribe to Jaguar Gator 7. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters for helping out the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. See how you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.